Mi nombre es Fernando Freites, soy ingeniero en informática, trabajo en Telecom hace 4 años. Hace 20 y pico de años que trabajo.
I have been working different sectors of technology and from the systems and added value services, telecommunications, and I was an engineer, and now I am involved in marketing, innovation, and new business models so as to empower connectivity. The idea of this talk is to tell you what we can see from telecom at the level of technology, evolution of telecommunications, and how this can help to accomplish efficiency in the farms so as to work more efficiently and sustainably and responsibly. And this is collaborative. We, working together with you and with entities such as APRESID, thank you for the invitation, we can work and develop things together. So we are going to start with a small video so as to, well, open the floor. And here you can be able to check relevant data at any time, and each farm and company will have the necessary technology to have a more effective production. We offer technological solutions so as to improve the yield in real time anywhere in the world. Telecom, so as to put you in context, we are working together with Cablevisión, FiberCorp, Fibertel, Personal. We are all part of the same company, and we are the largest in the market with almost 5 million homes connected, 18 million of people connected through the mobile network. And at the level of the consumers, we have a wide array of products. And now we have the quadruple play, we have TV, cable TV, internet, fixed phone and mobile phone. And our challenge is to grow landlines, to grow in connectivity in this context. And for this, we are making many investments, not only connecting people, and also to start to get the Internet of Things. In the 80s, we started with voice communication. Many might have had phones that only connected by voice, and this was quite advanced telephone for the 1980s, and we started with this big equipment, and we started undergoing a technological change, and that was person-to-person communication. All this evolved, and we have the 2G networks, we have the change in the terminals and data. Terminals became smarter and smarter, and there was more than voice communication. We had text messages in the 90s. It was said that this was not going to foster, but then we ended with WhatsApp. We can see that the advance was great regarding the text message and this data message. Then we had 3G, exchange of data. We are going to see the internet, to have email, to have different accesses, and to use internet more intensively than 4G. Today, we have 4G LTE, 4G Plus, and we had the era of the content consumption, that is, people connected and more. And now we have the content consumption. 80% is video, even in mobile phones, and music, and especially the person-to-person interconnection with systems such as WhatsApp. The evolution is to accomplish 5G, and it's going to bring a wider band, and the quantity of data will grow, but with band. bandwidth. And we are going to connect people in different ways. We have voice, data, consumption, content consumption, how they consume, they moved, and the mobile phone is crucial for everybody. We get back to our home for a few things, just to pick up the phone if we have left it, and we're more and more aware of how to have keywords, passwords, how to manage the bank, different things related to security, and we are more and more aware of this. The next step is how to connect to things. We are in this era, we have air conditioners with Wi-Fi. You're going to connect your laptop and agricultural iPads with a chip, and you know a lot of things. We are going to be able to sense many things, and we are going to have this information and data creation cloud that we have to see how to use it. Regarding connectivity, and something that we know and that you are concerned, and that is the baseline of creating. First, I want to be connected to myself, and before getting connected to things. We have invested a lot. This is a real map of the province of Santa Fe, and we have a zoom to Rosario. In the last year, we had made significant investments in this sector, and now we have planned that only in the littoral part, $20 million in investment, and of sites. Each site is going to be an antenna that is going to be installed. We have different issues. Municipalities have to allow us to install this antenna, and we have a cost of approximately $150,000 whenever we install an antenna, and we can also use the antenna that are already there to upgrade them to provide better and better technology. Today, Santa Fe is covered by 98% of 4G connecting people, and we have started to work on developing these connections and taking it to the things, to the places where we don't have many people. Telecom companies have 250 sites in the littoral region, but in the farm the signal is not that significant, because we are still learning, and we are going to see that these businesses will enable us to invest in technology to connect sites that are not connected today. We are going to connect things, and for this we need connectivity, and there are different approaches to this. One is through authorized licenses for telecommunication, other unlicensed ones such as Sigfox and LoRa. These are communication technologies, and we have to create, for instance, a determined solution for the farm. We are going to have an antenna of this technology with a technological partner that has this available. We are going to connect the farm with an antenna, and we are going to get this connectivity to these places where we have the evolution of 5G. I would like to let you know that today our main role, that is the connectivity layer, to ensure it to be able to provide solutions of Internet of the Things that will enable you to be better and more efficient in your agricultural activities, to be able to offer it. Don't get concerned about connectivity. If we have a business case where we have to get connectivity, we're going to do it. So today the deployment of antennas and fibers is really important. We have an investment plan of $5,000 million, and that would be to buy all the 70 kilometers of Amarok, all the planes of Aerolíneas Argentinas. Vaca Muerta is one, and we are the second company as far as investment. So we're investing a lot of money so as to be able to get connectivity everywhere. We know that the IoT is here to stay, and we have to be present, and connectivity cannot be a hurdle. Something else that has really improved is what we call the NPS. It is something that is a Net Promoter Score, and that is measured continuously. What network satisfaction did we have in 2017? Those people who were asked, are you happy with your connectivity? 54% said that they were not happy. I'm not happy at all with connectivity. And the promoters were very few, 30%. And 2019, we have 43% of promoters, 4.5 people already say yes, but from 54 it went down to 38, those who are against our services. There are many more people who are happy with connectivity, and we are working to overcome 50% of promoters regarding connectivity. And now we are going to see the IoT, that is the connectivity layer, is crucial to have it. And speaking about the Internet of Things, the growth in the next years is exponential. From 3 years, at 3 years, the growth is going to be times 3. The number of things connected, we estimate that there's going to be 25 billion devices connected, and we are not using them today, but 2021 it's going to be 3 times as much. This is not going to be a change in Argentina or Latin America. We are going to be more and more hyper-connected. And 3 years ago, by household, there were 3 to 4 devices connected. Today, we have over 9. In each household, there are over 9 devices connected. It started being one for one member of the family, and now we have all the members of the family. Here we have a tablet, and a phone, a PlayStation, a TV, a thermostat, so as to measure a boiler. There is an air conditioner. We can see it more and more, and in 2 years' time, there is going to be 15 devices connected per household. So all this requires a bandwidth which is going to be wider, and we require latency, that is the speed of the network from one point to the other one, and this communication will return. It's going to be more and more demanding for online games, for instance, and for online games, we are no longer going to use consoles. We are going to have online games. And for example, we have a race game. When you are turning the wheel, the screen has to turn. And if you have everything internet, the response speed should be very high. What is this generating? A lot of information. We have a lot of overwhelming information that we have to manage and use so as to take advantage of this. The same happens at a household or a smart building, in the agricultural sector. Everywhere you start having sensors and different devices connected to a cloud generating information, and if you don't use it, this is going to be useless. It is estimated that in the agricultural sector, the quantity of information is taken advantage by 20 or 30%. It's a huge volume. It's only used by the people who is taking it, and this should be used in all the value chain so as to make decisions along all the chain. As I told you about connectivity and telecom, we want to ensure this, and very weird. We are speaking about this, access to internet, and this is SIM management. This is the chip that we use. In the value of chain, in the IoT, you can see the chain value, and when we speak about IoT, such as connectivity, we sometimes overlook all the verticals that we are facing. If we speak about the agricultural sector, we can have an ensure connectivity, each sensor with a SIM card inside the sensor. Of course, all are adapted, and they have a battery length from 5 to 10 years, depending on the transmissions. They are prepared to work underground, and the frequency is very low so as to be able to transmit this, and it has a small capacity of bandwidth because data are transmitted and they weigh little. They are resistant to climate, they can be buried, the battery lasts a long time. This connectivity is going to ensure it. And then we have the building of an application for the mobile phone, a dashboard to take advantage of all the information generated from these sensors, decision making, the lab to test sensors. We have a wide array of things, and here you can see that if there are different companies, small companies that provide a solution of humidity sensors, meteorology sensor, different things, and you should not know whether they work or not, what type of network is being used, if the batteries work as they should. Something is to test a sensor in a 20-degree table, the other one is to use it in the middle of a farm, buried with different things that might fail. I was listening to different anecdotes, and a sensor failed because the sector in the farm, the solar feeding didn't work.
So what happened? There was a nest on top of it, but that doesn't happen in a lab. Some others had a sensor inside an hermetic box underground, and there was a sector in the farm, and the box was filled with water. But when they started to study this, they realized that the change of temperature was so big that there was condensation in the box. So inside the box, water was not going in, was created by condensation. All of this together, we Telecom, what we do is what it says there, lab. The lab, what we do, we test with our networks, with our connectivity. There can be a company from Europe that doesn't work in the local network. Sometimes when you get a phone, you buy it in Europe, and the bandwidth is different. Well, we test all things, and we're going to certify that, so you will be safe, on the safe side. You don't have to know about sensors, technology, software, connectivity, whether that software is okay in my device. We're going to work together because you know about farming, but we know about technology, and we can help you. We are going to create vertical solutions that are applicable. APRESID is a fantastic place that can bring us together to develop these applications and find different benefits for everyone. In the different working areas of the Internet of Things, there are three big areas. The consumer, where we talk about smart homes, home control, wearables. Those are the clock, the watches that people use to train. Then we have the B2B. That's where we have verticals associated to companies, smart building, agriculture, smart industry. And the other one is what we call a different value chain, the habilitators, where we buy technology from different platforms, that is middleware for IoT, and that will allow us to integrate different vertical solutions so that afterwards we will have the connectivity and everything will be solved to use the communication networks, and everything that is created in the verticals in farming or in farming solutions, all the information created will be in only one single place. So you are here and you have 10 different farming applications. Each of you use that platform and you take advantage of that information. But if the person next to you has a different vertical, a different platform, they don't know what happens with you. How can we solve that? Well, having us all a middleware where everybody shares the information and we democratize that information. Data are more democratic, and we add to the value chain. That will shorten value chains, because from production, from farmers to consumers, you know very well that there's a value chain that adds costs, and the farmer is the one that gets the least. So from there, we need what? Information, data. First the data, but if the data are on a platform and nobody can reuse those data and include them in the supply, in the value chain, they are just data. We have to transform those data into decisions that will allow us to shorten the value chain, add margins, and be more efficient. This is just starting. It is growing. There are many debates in other areas, in other industries. Everybody's talking about the Internet of Things. Everybody's talking this is the future, but the truth is that if this sounds like science fiction and you think we are far away from it, everybody is. This doesn't happen only in Argentina. This is just starting everywhere in the planet, but this is a good moment to start. So let's work together, telecommunications, tech companies, with you to bring all the knowledge together. Now, how to transform data into information. I get excited and I start talking too fast. So connectivity creates data storage and analytics, and that goes into insight dashboards. You will need a lot of technology to do this, knowing where the sensor is, knowing how those data can be processed, and using the dashboards or these spreadsheets, you will know how to use it, how to take advantage of this. First of all, what will you want the data to give you? There are so many sensors. There will be so much data. The Excel spreadsheet will have so much on it that you don't know what to ask. That's when communities and collaboration become important, because everything has to be in working tables, and we should know what to request from those data. What is the information we need or we want, and what decisions we will make. We don't have to be afraid of decisions, not to be afraid of using data, but probably changing the ways we work or changing our practices. And we work in a tech company where we have a lot of information every day, and you say, okay, information validates something that I do, and I don't do much more. No, information should give us new tools to work. We don't have to be afraid. We have to try. We have to test. We have to be bold. So, Telecom is seeing a digital revolution, and this digital revolution is reaching everywhere, even those places where technology seems to be absent. We are everywhere, and we can work everywhere. Where are we heading to? This is what we are going to be connecting. Facilities, governance, transportation. The autonomous car is already in the streets. And in 4 or 5 years, we will have autonomous cars in Argentina. We will have an autonomous machine working the field, nobody driving it. This will completely change things. Will completely change our working practices. It will eliminate jobs, but it will create many new jobs. If you focus on production, well, maybe you have to focus on industrialized production, because you will have the tools to harvest, to create industry from there. So today we are not ready. We don't have the education tools, we don't have the resources where they should be available to take advantage of sensors, of technologies, to use them to change the value chain, because we will have to change our education. And that's another area where we have to focus on and work on. We need government, communities, with technology companies to professionalize sectors, because in 5 years from now, people will not be trained to take advantage of all this. And that happens everywhere in the planet. Now, going into farming, Telecom has started doing some things that we launched in Expo Agro. First, solutions, showing what we can do. We showed production, harvest, logistics, and the value chain. What we did there and what we showed were three: environmental monitoring, animal monitoring, and control of the facility. The environmental monitoring is about sensors to measure humidity, weather conditions, sensors in the field, mixing it with historical satellite images to detect fires, flooding, lack of irrigation, and allow people to make better decisions. As to animal monitoring, again, we tested a necklace that cattle can wear. We can check theft when animals are taken away, whether the animal is in heat, whether the animal is not eating properly. We can check the behavior that helps us detect diseases. And renewable energies and facilities automation, we have access controls, and we can also control humidity and temperature, or any other thing that can be controlled and transformed into useful information. So there's a lot to do. We want to work together. We are available. Telecom is buying technology and is adapting its structures to focus on these kind of initiatives. Telecom did not have an Internet of Things department. Now we are creating an Internet of Things specific department to structure things properly, to be able to work everywhere. So thank you very much. I invite you to be part of this new era. Thank you very much.
Le agradecemos con este aplauso a Fernando Freites.
Thank you, Fernando Freites. And there are some questions.
Bueno, Fernando, te van algunas preguntas.
Fernando, some questions.
Hay una que tiene que ver
One is
con
about
el negocio, digamos, de tu empresa.
your company's business. When you talk about 3G, 4G, and then data capturing with a charge. But structural costs are growing, I guess. The first business subscription, is it okay? Does it allow the company to develop all the things that you're talking about? And the question is, basically, it seems expensive, but it is important to have a return. Yes, along along many years, we have a big demand for data. 4 years ago, average consumption was about 1 giga per month or less. Just to give you an idea, Netflix, an hour on Netflix is 200, on Flow is 300 or 400, just to have an idea. Currently, users demand 7 giga, 7 times more than some years ago. So the investments we need to meet that demand are huge. And people want to pay less. The structural cost is in dollars and subscription is in pesos. But there's always a mismatch. So when you see some graphs, who is getting the benefits with the number of data used by users, it's not the telecommunication, it is Amazon, Netflix, Google. Those take advantage of connectivity. So it is more and more difficult for us to compensate our investments. We're talking about millions of dollars in investments. The subscription business, of course, is there. It is our main source of income, but in future, it will affect us and it will shift because the subscription with costs in dollars, that is not viable. Internet of Things, well, we will invest on that. We know that return will not come quickly. Internet of Things, one chip connected to one sensor, cost per year $5 to $10. It's very little when you compare with what a person pays. So connecting things is not cheap, but volume will be important. So that's why we want to be in the entire value chain. What I show with that little steps, it's 3-5% of the entire value chain. So our bet to make this business profitable and continue investing in connectivity, which is crucial, that's when we need to be end-to-end, creating those verticals, working with a different industry, being part of the entire value chain. Thank you. In general, in the field, it's 3G. Any digital platform, connectivity, Internet of Things, farming machinery in the traditional one, it's very hard. And when something is done manually, you don't store information. So it seems that the machinery are moving at one pace, and digitalization in farming is going at a different pace. So what do you see 5 years from now?
Well, when there is a problem today, we are focusing on things more than people. Today, we have 95% of coverage at the national level of people. So the challenge is to connect to things, and when doing so, there are different technologies in order to be able to do it, not only the authorized, licensed, but for some other cases to take connectivity to places and where we have a level of technology such as sensors, the number of devices connected, what we want to do regarding information. It also has some other value in these value chain. We're going to be bringing more technology, and this can be as fast. For example, we have a case, we have to do a development in some hectares because we want an agricultural vertical for a given aim. We are going to take the connectivity. We can do it in a project that will take some months, but we can start next week. We are not going to leave aside things in a field because there is no connectivity now. Next year, we're going to launch 5G. And this is going to take the antennas to an upper step. Today, you can install an antenna every 20 blocks in a city, but this is going to be every 200 meters, and the technology is going to be closer to where you need it. So I should say that connectivity is just starting. We have to find the business cases to be able to do it, and they are not associated to those who pay a chip. Well, this is not here. You have to look for the cases, those who are working in the sector, and this might be a proof of concept, or there is something we want to do, and we have a business end-to-end where the connectivity is going to be 5%. So to bring the connectivity is not to be a problem. The problem is that if it is only connectivity, and we are going to have a more complex scenario, and that is when you are only looking for only connectivity, and that is to integrate anything that is going to on these communications. It goes hand in hand. For example, communication sensor integration, how the sensors work in our networks, and how to take advantage of the information and connectivity end-to-end up to the app in the phone that you use to make decisions. It's not that we are going to install antennas to see who gets connected and who is using it. This model is not viable because you cannot put an antenna to see whether someone is going to connect an equipment and a sensor. There is no return to it. Now, if we work an ad hoc end-to-end project, connectivity should not be a problem to be able to accomplish this. I think that there is an opportunity, and there are many things in the field, and of course this is going to be very useful. Of course, Internet of Things will change the paradigm of everything. And a question: those countries that have that are technologically advanced and do not have they speak about food security. Is it possible to think in our country that we are going to require technology security, because if not, we're going to be left aside of the world? What happens with the public sector? And they are going to lay railroads. What is going to happen with technology and connection in the public sector? Is there anything to consider? That is why I said that we have to work with the government in order to be able to accomplish and to get this technology. INTI does a lot of things technologically. There are many advances that are being studied, but we don't have a relationship. We have a little relationship, and we work isolated in connectivity. INTI is working with you more than with us, but now the circle is not closed, and when you start adding other things that are part of the IoT system as education or jobs or people looking for this place to work. Here we are the ones in charge of making this viable. We have the power to sit with APRESID or with the government and to generate these working spaces. We have to create them, not only to take advantage of the technology and how to develop new technology, but how to use, how to know how to use the data generation, where we can use it to optimize the value chain, as I told you before. If it is within the information field and the only one using it is the person generating it, this grower will really not have an idea of what the potential of it. Now, if structurally we're able to work in this ecosystem, we have a private sector and the public sector, those who are interested in the solution, and government generating opportunities, I think that this is enormous, and I don't think this is impossible. We are working in other industries in this field, and I believe that it is a key moment. There are not many countries involved in this. There are some countries, Australia, that is more advanced. Brazil might have some things, but they are all seeing the business model, the IoT, the information, what the grower does with the information is really more efficient. Is it really going to be translated into more revenues? Are we going to have more margins? Are we going to improve the value chain? There are no answers, but I'm sure that without this, this will not be possible. So we are starting. Thank you very much. The last question. In the future, where do you think that resources will be necessary, in the structural, in the hardcore, or in the place where the connectivity is going to take place, or in the software, in the developments that you showed of the business units? Where do you consider the resources that we have available in Argentina? Well, what do you think about them? This is my personal opinion, of course, and humbly, I believe that the problem is not there. Connectivity and the software are going to be solved in Argentina. We have the knowledge, and it is a source of software generation or development for the world. There are many people involved in software development, and we are well qualified at the university level so as to be able to be software developers and also to build hardware. An anecdote. In the USA, this is not related to the agricultural sector, but this will trigger opportunities. In the USA, there was a company that was selling sprayers, odor sprayers for the bathroom. They had a retail store selling this. When the perfume was off, they called the company and they said, "Bring me a bottle." What happened? The problem that the company had was that it was on demand. When they remembered that there was not a good order, they called them back. So what did they do? They wanted to transform the retail sale in service. If I am able to see when the perfume is off, I can sell a continuous service, and I'm going to send the spare parts. What did they do? They developed a smart aromatizer. And how come that you're going to develop this? They did it, but they had to have the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth chip in the device to be able to accomplish this connectivity. And the hardware was done by someone from Córdoba and the software by someone from Tucumán. This was casual. It was not that they got together. All of a sudden, they had a meeting, they sat down, they started speaking English, and one did the software, the other one the hardware. It is implemented, and the guy was able to have a lot of revenues thanks to the management of information. So, regarding software generation or development and hardware development, I don't see a hurdle. What I consider is that we have to put these two sides together. We have to sit at a table and trying to solve problems that you have many times. Those who are speaking about technologies we have difficulty to find a solution for a problem that is not existent. I bring a solution, no, but I don't know what you are talking about. I didn't know that I had problems. So we tell the grower something, or those working in an area, that in fact has nothing to do with what they are doing. This is because there is a lack of connection, and there are no working tables. Those involved in technology are used to generating technology, and you say, yes, we love the technology, and we develop it, and let's see what we can solve with this. And the truth is that we have to understand what the problem is and try to create technology for this. And even though the software development is not easy, when you do a software, you're going to develop something, and if you have a sensor with a spider, you have many complexities, but the gray matter is there. And we have to work together, we have to take advantage. We have to be intelligent at the time of the development. If we are aligned, each of you will not buy things separately. And when we want to integrate this and it's a change of paradigm, and we have the complexity. And here you can see, and there is a change. We have more collaboration. And this is better for everybody, for the country. And the evolution of the population is exponential. And we're going to need more and more most efficient production food. So it's very complex. We have to see an efficient technology, and the software is a group of engineers working, and we have to choose the correct pathway. And in 3 years, we shouldn't realize that we didn't do a good job because we didn't agree, because we didn't sit down, and well, we had problems of communication. We don't want to collaborate, or because the governments don't want to work it, and telecommunication companies fight. So the solution is to be useful.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Fernando.
Gracias.
Gracias.